Now let's cover some more of the fun features of the APC64 step sequencer, like probability and mutate. Here on this drum track, I'm able to edit probability. This will change the percentage chance that a note actually happens in our sequence. Let's start with the kick since it'll be the most obvious to hear. This bottom quadrant here, similar to the velocity settings, represents the percentage chance that a note will happen, from 3% to 100%. Let's set each kick to happen 50% of the time by holding down the note and pressing the 50%. Of course, now I'm editing notes that have already been edited, but we could also change this setting for new notes that get entered in, simply by setting a probability setting, choosing the sound we'd like to enter, and entering it in on the grid. Whichever probability percentage you have selected, the notes will enter in at that probability percentage. Now, I'd like for us to jump over to another track and start entering some notes on the step sequencer, but before we do that, I'm just going to go ahead and set all of these notes to 100% probability. This is the kick drum. I just want that steady 4 to the floor kick for what we're about to do. Now, switching over to track 2, which is controlling our external synth, we can start entering in notes on the step sequencer. But I do just want to note here that each of the tracks on the APC64 step sequencer has independent settings. So we can change it from note mode to drum mode. And we can also change things like what MIDI channel it sends a signal on. So here, let's go ahead and start plugging in some notes manually. We're set to 100% probability here. So same thing with note mode, works the same exact way where we can enter in notes at a specific probability. So we're entering these notes currently in 75% probability, which we can up to 100% if we want for the next notes that we'll enter here. And that is represented by the brightness of the LEDs. Let's play that back. So as it plays through, the probability is creating some variation in this pattern. But let's create even more variation by switching over to our mutate mode. Mutate is exclusive to note mode instruments. It won't work in drum mode. But with mutate, we can change whether or not a step will be performed at its played pitch or at an octave up or an octave down. We have control over the percentage of the chance whether or not a mutation happens here in this quadrant. And it works the same exact way where we have from 3% to 100% chance. So let's select the note we'd like to edit, and we can go ahead and select 100% for demonstration purposes. Select these notes on the sequence, change them to 100%. Let's do that for these notes as well. Let's play this back and hear how it sounds with the mutation. So we've really started to unleash the power of the APC64 step sequencer here by not only controlling a drum rack in Ableton Live, an external synth as well, and then applying things like probability and mutate to make these sequences that much more interesting.